Hey everybody, we're back with another installment. We were doing this shelf and now we're going down to the one below it, beneath it. Looks like there's some candles there. Here is a cigar box that also contains little candles. And then here we're starting to get to books. Wait, in the meantime, what is this cool poster that was there? Oh, this is really cool. Oh, this is really cool. It's from Late Night Copies Press, and it collects all of these like personals from the gay lesbian community of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Greater Minnesota. This is really cool. It arranges it into this like nice portrait. Can we see something cool here? Mustache and or beard. Yeah, I like the cut of this zine's jib. So here we're getting into the books that are actually on this shelf. It's another double stacked shelf. We got Madness, Rack, and Honey in the copy that I bought because I just like loved it so much and like needed my own copy. It's like way crisper than the library copy. See, we're kind of a little bit past halfway and you kind of stop reading because you're like, no, I don't want it to end so soon. And you can see there's like that little bit of furriness there in the corner. Madness, Rack, and Honey, a new favorite book. Anton Chekhov's Selected Stories, basically my go-to collection of Chekhov stories. I really only ever read the ones that are in the front, the funny ones that he wrote when he was young. Here's a very recent acquisition. Brothers by Yu Hua was on sale at Half Price Books, so I got it because I really like To Live. I want to reread To Live. I have a copy of that, and then I want to read Brothers too. The first page blew me away of Brothers. I think it's going to be a fantastic read. I cannot wait to get to this. This is going to be a bath time thing. We got my personal copy of The Rings of Saturn with the torn page in the front, and with the Pokemon card, and with the yellowing on the edges and stuff, and all of the markings that are no doubt like really annoying if you look at it. We got The Din in the Head. We got The Din in the Head by Cynthia Ozick. I haven't read these essays, but I had to cop it because it was cheap at McKay's, and I like Cynthia Ozick. I like Dictation. I liked Antiquities, on which book I have a video. I liked Messiah of Stockholm, on which book I have a video. I liked, I like what I've seen of Trust, a book I have a copy of. I really want to read Heir to the Glimmering World. I like Puttermesser Papers. I like her. I like the intensity of her books. And in general, I just am more interested in learning how to write an essay lately. I want to use the essay as a way of getting to, writing more interesting fiction that actually accesses my head and doesn't run into little cul-de-sacs where it's like, oh my God, I can't imagine anything else. And there's no kind of actual access to my imagination. There's only like tropes or like the sound of prose to carry me along. I want to use essay as a way of making more substantial bridges from imaginative things to imaginative things. Then we got a couple books of fiction there. We got Department of Speculation, a favorite of mine. Discovered it in college and read it on the quad. Taipei, enough said. Raymond Carver, What We Talk About When We Talk About Love, in this nice vintage contemporaries edition. I typically keep these all stashed together. I think definitely in the new house I'll keep all these stashed together because the design of these is perfect. I gave somebody my copy of Where I'm Calling From and they just kind of ran off with it, which I support. I hope they're enjoying it and reading it happily. And then to kind of compensate for that, I picked this up and I'm excited. I plan to kind of get back into Raymond Carver stories with this book, and I'm specifically interested in realist fiction for the same reason I'm interested in essay lately. Like, I want to find a way to make more substantial imaginative bridges that actually access not only my, imagination, but memory too. We got a box of Hanukkah candles, Good Light. I was using these for a while, and they would melt down, and I would jam a new one in the wax, and I would read by that light. We got Leskov's Selected Tales. It's kind of like a scuffed edition. These require a long attention span that y'all know I don't have. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really excited to read Selected Tales. I have a friend who loves Leskov. I have lots of friends who love Leskov. And they also like Gogol and Walser and stuff, and they like folk tales. These are supposed to be really good stories, and it's translated by David Magarshak, who's he translated that edition of Crime and Punishment that a lot of people have read. The spine on this book is very faded. It's a noonday book, just like my copy of The Moviegoer. It's got some blurbs on the back. It got that thing where they like put the marker over the price. It's very thick pages. It feels like pages that came from before World War II, when you could still have thick pages and they weren't like rationed in England or something. We got this bug that, this box elder bug. We've got this book that I should definitely spend more time with. It's this milkweed edition that I got a long time ago because I'm a musician and stuff, and it just seemed really good. It seemed like a cool collection of poems that mixes a lot of different media. It's obviously beautiful. I feel like I've been saving it for later, but I feel like this year is the time to read this. I really love the way. So what's his name? Bill Holm. Look at Bill Holm on the back here. Have any of you all read Bill Holm before? This is amazing looking. Maybe I'll do something where I learn some of the music from here. I'd rather, except for the penalties, kill a man than a bug. But the small black wing had nothing left but a feeble wave which said, "Up yours." I gave him the big thumb in the twilight. That's beautiful. I am validated in my decision to hold on to this book over the years. It's very tall. You can see it's like the tallest thing. It's so much taller than other books on the shelf, you know. So, Box Elder Bug Variations, very cool collection of poetry that I will be much more knowledgeable in if you give me a couple more months to get to it. What else is here? We've got Marx Engels Reader. I was going to give this away for a while, but then I was like, this is good to have, I've enjoyed reading it with friends. I like asking more politically knowledgeable friends questions about this and just like hearing them talk. It's a good thing to read to discover prompts to deliver to my more politically educated friends so that I can enjoy the sound of their voice as they soliloquize on all of that. So we've got 4 plays by Aristophanes. I was talking last video about how I want to read more plays. This has some overlap with what was in that little green guy, but not like total overlap. So there's like The Birds is here, and Lysistrata, that book that was related to that recent Spike Jonze movie. The translations here look really good. I got this for free from somebody who was like moving in Hyde Park, and I've held on to it ever since, and I believe that I will be validated in keeping it. I wanted to join my like kind of classics area and plays area in the new house. Y'all know about these. We got Spadework for a Palace and The Woman Who Killed the Fish. They're both that like storybook New Directions thing. Spadework for a Palace is a little bit thicker. It's about 100 pages, and I think Woman Who Killed the Fish is more like 70 or something. This has illustrations. This one really just has one illustration on the front that's important to it, whereas Woman Who Killed the Fish has like illustrations throughout that kind of enhance the text. Yeah, and this one is one of those books where when you read it at first you'll be like, what's the point? And then all of a sudden you'll just feel your brain kind of opening up. You'll feel your inner monologue as you write opening up, and you'll be like, oh wow, yeah, this book really did give me a kind of freedom. We got Things Fall Apart, second copy of the book in the house. It's that newer cover. Enough said. I just need to. I absolutely need to read this, and further proof of my ineptitude, my disqualification from being a booktuber is that I haven't read this yet. There's this copy of Heinz Kidnap. I know that we could talk a lot more about this. I got it because I was like, oh, I can get it now. Because in high school, it was always just like, oh my God, am I ever going to get a Joseph McElroy book? Will it ever happen? And then I finally got the opportunity here. And I started reading it, and I just don't think in my typical kind of, skipping around, low, small attention span fashion, I wasn't really, super available to this book, and I'd like to look at it again. It's got that, that kind of textured cover. It was good though. What does the back say again? Oh yeah, it's a nice, just kind of broad mystery. I don't want to say much more about this till I take a deeper look at it. The language of it was better and more coherent than I expected it to be. It was less kind of like, deconstructionistically modernist or something. A Voice from the Attic. This is a favorite book. This goes with Madness Rack and Honey. This is like, in terms of essay and what I want to be like as a writer of essay, look no further than those two books. American Poetry Since 1970 with this weird stain on it. It's kind of gross, but I gotta keep it because I really want to use this while reading poetry with my friends at my house. So thank you, Gautama, for leaving this at my place. I have no idea where you got it. You probably got it from some free bin outside of Powell's or something. Here's my Thomas Brown. Religio Medici I've read, and you can see lots of like straight-edged underlines in here. I love to humor my fancy. Where I cannot satisfy my reason, I love to humor my fancy. I'm gonna read that one more time. Where I cannot satisfy my reason, I love to humor my fancy. I had as lieve you tell me that, oh gosh, and then the Latin starts. Yeah, I took a look at Religio Medici, but I haven't gotten to Urn Burial yet. I would love to just get on a slow boat to China with this book. We got another Pelican Shakespeare, the sonnets. I think what's good about this as opposed to well, it's nice. It's just like, I think this one lays everything out really well. I think the notes, the explanatory notes, if you want to read and not be distracted by explanatory notes, then you should go elsewhere. But if you really like need to know about these sonnets because you're, presenting on at a virtual talk on them or something, or you need to do something for a class on these sonnets, then this is a good addition because those notes at the bottom really butt in and tell you what you should be saying about the poems. We've got my Poems from the Greenberg manuscripts by Samuel Greenberg. You can see the staples kind of like pinch in the paper, where they're stapled in. This is an essential book. I love that I have this book. I have a friend who's working on some stuff with Greenberg stuff, and I want to update you on that once I know more about it, maybe at the Mouse premiere when I talk to Hank next. Anyway, I love this. I made a video on it when I first got it, and I was like, oh my god, I just got this in the mail. It's so good. Everybody look up Samuel Greenberg online and get really excited about it. Here's stuff by Tao Lin that I was collecting. I haven't read either of those books. And odds are I will reread Taipei before I get to those. Golden Compass, Philip Pullman. This is the copy we all know and love. I love Philip Pullman. And I really want the kind of omnibus edition of all of these books. Marlene Dietrich's ABC. Do you all know about this one? Yeah, so Marlene Dietrich's ABC is this amazing book where you just get an alphabetized version of Marlene Dietrich's thoughts. So, when you go to B, you're like, oh, well, let's see what's going on with basil. And then Marlene Dietrich lets you know that about basil, she says, the aroma of all meat is greatly enhanced by a bit of basil. People on salt-restricted diets should use basil in most foods. It's wonderful on buttered spaghetti. So if you're on a salt-restricted diet, if you're having spaghetti, you should, butter it with unsalted butter, and then make sure to have lots of basil on there, and you should keep Marlene Dietrich in your mind. Let's look at one more. Just while we're here, life is short. You shouldn't hear admonitions that life is short from anyone who isn't within sight of the end, Anthony Madrid says. Charles Lawton, I wish he would teach acting. Lavender, here's another herb. Better on the bush than in the closet. Interesting. So lavender is a nice scent, but we don't really like the color so much in terms of fashion if we're Marlene Dietrich. So for all of that essential know-how, you're going to want to get you a copy of Marlene Dietrich's ABC. I don't think it's particularly hard to come by, and it is highly, highly, highly recommended. It's going to be a mainstay of my library for years to come, no matter where I live or move. And then lastly, in this back row, we've got the copy of Adventures of Augie March that I got from Union Avenue Books in Knoxville, Tennessee, when I was in high school for $5. It has that little bit of a kind of fade to that corner there. It's this lovely Penguin paperback. It has an introduction by Christopher Hitchens, which I think is cool. I wonder if that was important to me at the time when I was watching more Christopher Hitchens videos. We got these birds in air, the silhouettes of the birds in air, which is a pretty darn good Penguin picture for these covers. I really enjoyed reading this. I read it kind of sneakily while I was at my data entry job, and don't tell anybody about that, but I highly doubt that an employer is watching this video, and if you are, I'm having a good time working with you. Yeah, this is cool. It's like a nice, you know that book. Notes from Underground. The first time I read Notes from Underground, it was in my mom's Norton edition that she used for college, and then the first time I reread it, I read it in this copy that I got because it was inexpensive. It was an optional text for a college class, I think, and I ended up just sort of reading it. This is one of those books, kind of like the Lispector, where when you read it, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, why am I in this cloud? And then once you leave and come back to it or do some first-person writing of your own, it'll become apparent what its effect will allow you to do in terms of confession, like nuances of confessional writing and stuff like that. Coming Through Slaughter, a novel that I loved the first time I read it. It's got kind of a perplexing cover where they've just got like the picture of Buddy Bolden, and then we've got the like zoom in, and yeah, it's just a great book. I think I have a lot of marks in here. I think it got like mildly water damaged at some point, but it came out okay. Got like a little bit of water damage at the top right there. But this probably is my favorite Ondaatje novel that I've ever read. I've only ever read this and like listened to some of the audiobook of Divisadero though, so I really have a lot to read. I need to read The English Patient, for instance, and I'm interested in like his more recent books. But yeah, Coming Through Slaughter is great for people who like experimental fiction, for poets who are like, how do you make a novel how do you cull a novel together out of little bits, out of little poetic bits, or like little mini essays or bits of documentary information that you find. This is a kind of an instructive book, I think, for building a novel in an alternative fashion, just like where was that other book? Jenny Offel, the Jenny Offel book. Jenny Offel and Coming Through Slaughter are good examples of how you might make books in an alternative way. And then Remainder, a book that I really need to reread. It's another book that I absolutely loved when I first read it. These are all kind of novels that I loved when I first read them. That's kind of the rule here. It's either a new either a new acquisition, or it's something that I read and loved, or it's a new acquisition where I'm like, I'm probably going to love this and get a lot out of it. Loved, will love, loved, will love, have loved, will love, have loved, will love and have, and then, absolutely can't do better than Madness, Rack, and Honey. So yeah, so that's part 2 of the Whirlwind Tour. Have a good day. Happy reading, everybody.